Welcome to Sporting News Audio. My name is David Arnott. I'm sitting here with Ryan Fagan, Sporting News writer, and writer of the Power Poll, Major League Baseball Power Poll, which appears in Sporting News Today. Is it on Tuesdays?
On Tuesdays,
Tuesdays, yes. And this most recent one had some big risers and a couple of fallers that I want to talk about this week. The big riser, of course, is the one who went from the team that went from number 8 to number 1, and that's the Boston Red Sox. I was wondering if you could talk about why they're rising this high.
You know, the Red Sox are just playing fantastic baseball, and it really is impressive that they're doing it without, some of their biggest stars. They've had, obviously, Josh Beckett has been out for a while. Mike Cameron has been in and out of the lineup. Jacoby Ellsbury has been out, but they've really done a good job of, everyone else kind of has stepped up their play, And looking back through their schedule and trying to figure out when the turning point was, there was a game back on May 17th that they lost to the Yankees, 11-9. John Papelbon took the loss in that game. And since that point, the Red Sox have really been a different team. That dropped them to 19-20, a game under 500, and everybody in Boston was wondering what in the world is wrong with this team. Could they just not compete? But, since then, they're 24-9 after the loss to the Rockies last night in that stretch, which is the best in baseball. And you've got guys like, David Ortiz has just been on fire. Kevin Youkilis is, matching Ortiz RBI for RBI. And Adrian Beltre might be, the most underrated star in baseball. The kid's hitting like 340, ton of RBIs, good home run numbers, and nobody seems to be talking about him because Boston has their established stars, and I think he's been probably, arguably the best offseason pickup, and he's a big reason that the Red Sox are up top this week.
And beyond the hitting, he's always been a Gold Glove defender, right, which is the big thing that everyone talked about the Red Sox needed and we're going to go after this offseason. But there've been a surprisingly good offense. One of the falling teams was the Los Dodgers. They fell in your power poll down to number 13, below some other NL West teams. What is it about them that's causing them to fall in the power poll?
Well, part of it was they ran into Boston up at Fenway Park, and they lost a couple games there. And I think part of that fall, too, for the Dodgers, had to do with some of the other teams around them playing better. I think that's the same thing. The Padres dropped from 3rd to 6th, and it wasn't that the Padres played horrible, but it was the Red Sox went crazy, and the Rangers were on an 8-game winning streak. So teams just moved up, and the Giants have played very well lately out in the National League West. The pitching has been good as ever, and they're getting really good offensive seasons actually from Aubrey Huff and Juan Uribe. Two guys that didn't necessarily figure to have big seasons, but I think Huff, we talk about off-season additions, he's been one of the best too, and I think that's really has as much to do with the Dodgers falling as anything.
Say what you want about Brian Sabean, and lots of people have and will continue to say lots of things about him. But you have to, at a certain point, give him credit for sticking with Andres Torres, who's having arguably an all-star caliber season, playing all 3 outfield positions for the Giants, and even someone like Pat Burrell has worked out for them thus far. Yeah,
he is a guy that, for all the mistakes that he's made, and there have there have been many of them. He does enough good things. He finds enough gems. He does enough smart things, to keep his job there. Obviously, You look at the contract that they gave Barry Zito, and that's what everybody talks about, and obviously that wasn't a good idea in the long run in terms of the money they spent. But this year, Barry Zito's been very good. His ERA just finally crept above 3. He's been an excellent pitcher for them this year, and for as good as these guys, and you mentioned Andres Torres, who has just like you said, been fantastic. He's been one of those glue guys that really has worked his way into the lineup on a regular basis, and it seems like they're in position, that they're not going anywhere in terms of that National League West race.
So if I'm looking at the power poll today, I'm seeing how teams are doing right now. What do you think are going to be the moving teams in the next few weeks, maybe even next couple months, that they're not going to stay where they are in the power poll?
I think the Cardinals are a team that could possibly make a little bit of a move. They've actually been all over the poll on a weekly basis. It seems like they're a team that is not just average. They're either really good or they're really bad. And right now, they're playing very well. And the biggest thing is Matt Holliday is finally starting, to find his power stroke. Ever since he moved up to that number 2 spot in the lineup, he's just been tearing the cover off the ball. I mean, he's up to 11 home runs now, I think, and 5 of the 6 of those have come since he moved up to that number 2 spot in the order. He just wasn't cutting it, in the cleanup spot. His average was okay, but his RBI totals, his batting average with runners in scoring position was absolutely horrible. So I think they're a team, their off days kind of set up very well for them because they can kind of get by without a full 5-man rotation, and with injuries, Brad Penny and Kyle Loesch, they've really had to kind of struggle to fill those last couple spots, and the schedule sets up for them, in terms of off days, so that they could be a team that could play pretty well in the next couple weeks.
Ryan Fagan, thanks for joining us on Sporting News Audio.
I always enjoy it, David.
Yeah, you can read his power poll in Sporting News Today every Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning. Sporting News Today. Sign up for that through the Sporting News Today link at the top of sportingnews.com.